Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we are in beautiful Krakow, Poland.
Krakow is the second largest city and one of the oldest cities in Poland. It used to be the capital until 1596 and there's around 800,000 people living in the metro area here. So it's not too big, but it's also not super small. We've been to Poland a few times, but we've never been to Krakow. And a lot of people that we talked to said that Krakow is their favorite city. So we can't wait to see what the city has to offer, and we can't wait to see what the food is like, because so far we love Polish food. So let's go and let's eat.
Of course, you cannot come to Krakow without having an Obwarzanek Krakowski. It is a Polish bagel. It even has Krakow in the name, right? So we had to try it. And if you don't know what this is, as I said, it is a Polish bagel. The dough is twisted and made into this circular shape. It is normally topped with salt. It can be topped with poppy seed, cheese, or in this case, sesame seeds. Now, I grew up with bagels, of course, but I grew up with more Montreal-style bagels and New York-style bagels, which are a little bit different, but this is where they came from. North American bagels, as I know it, were brought over by the Jewish immigrants from Poland, and I'm very happy that they did because I absolutely love bagels. I think the main difference between the bagels in Poland and the bagels in North America are that the bagels in North America are made with lean dough, which means that they are not made with any kind of fat. And I think that these are made with wheat flour, lard, salt, and sugar. I think that the lard or the fat is the main difference between the two, but let's see how it tastes. The taste of this is definitely more bready and similar to a pretzel. I've heard many people compare it to that, and I was like, oh yeah, it totally tastes like a soft pretzel that you would get in North America. As far as I know, it's a sin to put anything on this here in Poland. A bagel in North America, you would put on cream cheese, make them into sandwiches and do all these things with them, but I think you're meant to eat these as is, and I can understand why. They're quite good.
I think these have been around since the late 1300s, so very, very long time. You buy them from these stalls on the street. They're like all over the place in Krakow. And it kind of reminds you of the stalls in Turkey and Istanbul. And they also have these like round shaped ones. So it's kind of interesting how they have like similar bread. Like,
These are better.
Are they? Let me see. I like the sesame. Yeah, they're really, really good. They're a bit more bready than like a bagel in America. I love bagels in North America. They're so nice and chewy. They're like kind of like a memory foam mattress. This is not like that. I would like to commit a sin and actually put something on these, like in sandwich form, just like with pretzels in Bavaria. You always get like these pretzel sandwiches. This would be really good with some like butter and chives or something like that. Maybe it's a sin. I don't know. I'm sure people would do it, but I've seen people just eat them on the street, walk around. There was like a family just like breaking pieces up for their kids and whatever, so you definitely eat it like that.
And one thing to note is that the prices of these stands vary greatly depending on where you are. Of course, the more touristy areas are more expensive. I've seen prices as high as 3.5 zloty for these and as low as 2 in an area that's further outside of the city. So I'm assuming these prices vary greatly, especially, yeah, if you're in any place that's a very touristy spot, of course the price is gonna be higher, but it is what it is. But if you come here to Krakow, you have to try one of these because they're very good.
Right at the beginning of Old Town there's the church Saint Bernardine of Siena, and we just went inside. It's super pretty. Apparently it was built in 1680, so it's super old, and there's all this gold everywhere. I feel like after traveling in Europe for a while, you've kind of seen many churches, they seem maybe quite similar, but because of all the gold in there and all this like crazy golden art, it's actually quite impressive.
We're not even religious whatsoever, but honestly, whenever we see a church pretty much anywhere in Europe, we have to make a stop in because they are absolutely beautiful. The architecture is incredible. The artwork is just always worth a stop if you see a church, especially when it looks like this from the outside. One of the main attractions here in Krakow is actually this dragon here behind us, and it's located near the Vistula River, and there's actually an old fairy tale that has to do with this dragon. Apparently he was this invincible dragon that nobody could kill, and he would terrorize the town demanding ransoms. According to another legend, only wanted to devour and eat virgins. And King Krak, the king of Krakow, wanted this dragon dead, but nobody knew how to kill him. But then there was this one shoemaker, I think his name was Skuba, maybe I'm butchering the pronunciation, and he devised a plan to get rid of the dragon. The legend goes that he wrapped a ram or a sheep's hide inside of a bunch of sulfur and pitch and left it out as a trap for the dragon. And when the dragon found it, he thought that it was a sheep, so he went to eat it, and upon digesting it, it really hurt his tummy. It was burning inside of him, so he went to drink from the river, but if you know about sulfur, it cannot be extinguished with water. So the gas bubbled up in his stomach, it steamed until he basically exploded and died. And so Scuba saved the day and got rid of the dragon. So the fairy tale says. I'm sure I butchered it a little bit, but locals in the comments, you can let us know how it really went.
And the dragon actually spits fire. I don't know how often and I don't know when. It just did it and we kind of missed it. So now we have to wait and see if it's gonna do it for us again.
If you look around his mouth, it's all black and charred, which is kind of cool from all the fire he's been spewing. So let's see if we can catch it.
And the Vistula River is actually flowing right through the city. It's the longest river in Poland and it's super, super nice. There's all these people sitting in the grass and enjoying the day because it's actually June right now, mid-June. It's super warm. I think these videos are not gonna come out until fall, but it is hot.
I feel like you can't go to Poland without coming to a milk bar or a Bar Mleczny. And if you don't know what a milk bar is, they're these Polish cafeterias serving really traditional Polish food. They used to be government subsidized. I guess they existed during the communist era to feed people at low costs, but they still exist today all over the country and they still serve food at low costs. We are very excited to be here. We ordered a couple traditional things. I heard that to go to an authentic milk bar, you cannot go to one in the city center near the touristy areas. They kind of have some milk bars that are really aimed towards tourists and they're not authentic according to people on Reddit. So we went to one a little bit outside of the center. I think the really authentic ones are all located on the outskirts of the city, which of course we can't go to. We don't have a lot of time. But we got ourselves a couple things and we're going to start with some kompot. If you don't know what kompot is, it is basically just boiled fruit made into a juice and then usually honey or sugar is added to make it sweet. You can get it made with a bunch of different types of fruit. I'm not really sure what this one is, but let's see. It's just like a really sweet, fruity juice. I'm not even sure what this one is. It could be any kind of dark berry, strawberry, I don't know, but it's really, really good. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce a lot of these Polish names because I know I'll just mess them all up. But what we have is a Polish cutlet, basically a Polish schnitzel. We got it with a side of buttered potatoes and also some creamy beetroot. We ordered a couple other things, but they ran out of a lot of different things, including potato pancakes. They were out of some different crepes and other things, but apparently this is a classic that you have to have in Poland. So let's see if it's good. All right. Got myself a piece now. Let's try it out. It's exactly what you think it is. It's a deep fried meat cutlet covered in breadcrumbs. Honestly, it's a little bit lukewarm in temperature. This food came out instantly. Obviously, this is the kind of place that you have a very quick turnaround. You're meant to just get your food and get out. But yeah, it's good. Let's try some of this beetroot. That beetroot is really good. It's hot. I thought it was like a cold beetroot salad, but it's warm. It's really, really good. I love beetroots. Has a nice earthy beetroot flavor. It's really creamy as well, obviously. It's served with cream inside. Yeah, that's really, really tasty. And potato. Super buttery, super salty. This is a really good meal.
The first milk bar was actually created in 1896, so they've been around for over 100 years. And in the beginning, they were mostly like dairy products. They still have some like dairy things. I actually wanted to order a milk soup with pasta, but I think that's for breakfast, so I don't know, they don't have it because it's, I think, under the breakfast items. This bar seems to be super authentic, by the way, because all the things are just in Polish. We had to use a translator. There was a person who helped us. I think there's a few tourists here who speak English, but still, it seems pretty legit. And I showed the woman all the stuff we wanted just written down because I don't know if they speak English here, but let's try this. I thought this was red cabbage. That's what it looks like. I've never had beetroot like this because this is literally like red cabbage, but instead of cabbage, it's beetroot. It's really yummy. See the schnitzel? batter comes kind of off like Wiener Schnitzel, and it's quite flat. It's a bit dry, and like Brandon said, a bit cold. This is not the best schnitzel I've ever had. Good potatoes. So let's try this kompot. I've seen this in so many YouTube videos, everyone gets it. I don't think I've ever had this. Tastes like fruit tea, but a lot sweeter, I feel like.
Tastes like juice to me.
Like the dark berry fruit tea. The next item we're gonna try is pierogi sedem, which is cheese pierogi. These are kind of like Polish dumplings that are filled with different things. We've had these before in other cities, and we're gonna try them in our food tour in Krakow as well, so you're gonna have to watch this. I've never had cheese ones with cheese on top like this before, and then there's also like some cheese sauce.
I think it's just sour cream that's been melted.
Maybe. Ooh. They're filled with like cottage cheese. That is so weird because they're kind of sweet. I didn't think that would be the case. They weren't under like dessert or anything, but they're not really that sweet. Like I wouldn't necessarily think, oh yeah, this is a dessert. I don't know. It's delicious. But it's kind of like cheesecake with kind of like cheesecake sauce, but not super sweet. I think this is really yummy. I think this is better than the kotlet.
We have a lot of Polish immigrants in Canada, so they are incredibly popular. You can find them in pretty much every grocery store frozen aisle, but they are always pierogi ruski. They're only filled with mashed potato. I think maybe sometimes there's variations that are potato and cheese, maybe potato with bacon flavor and things like that, but it's always mashed potato based. So that's interesting. Let's see how these compare to what I know in Canada. Wow. These definitely taste like dessert pierogi. This is not what I expected at all. There's like a sweet sauce, as Ani said, and then the inside is like crumbled cottage cheese. They're definitely good, but I was expecting something savory, so I'm a bit confused. It's definitely a milk item because there's some sort of milk sauce or sour cream sauce or something on top, but pretty good. Very interesting.
The first pierogi I ever had were actually in Canada. I didn't know they existed, although I'm from Germany and we're a neighbor with Poland. We don't eat pierogi there. Apparently in Canada they do. The potato ones are not my favorite. And I've eaten sweet ones before in maybe Poznan, but they had like berries and stuff in them, and I think these ones are my favorite sweet ones I've ever had. They're so, so good. I really like these milky ones. That was delicious. I hope you could hear us in there because it was so, so loud. Everyone was screaming and smashing plates and no. But
that's the
just
authentic
like
experience of a milk bar, right?
Yeah.
And it was super freaking cheap. What did we spend? Like 50
zloty, yeah, which I think is around $12.
Yeah. Pretty
Pretty
deal.
good. We are now in the old town of Krakow, which has been a UNESCO heritage site since 1978. And it's so beautiful. All these houses in different colors look so nice. It's quite huge. And I think it's one of the nicest old towns I've seen in Poland for sure, but also in other cities. This is just really, really, really beautiful. In the middle of the market square, there is this market hall called Sukiennice. It's a Renaissance-style market hall that has been around since the 13th century, I think. And they used to sell, I think, mostly fabrics and things like that here, but now it's basically souvenirs, religious artifacts, purses, jewelry, all those type of things. It's this long path. It's really cool. And the building also from the outside looks super, super cool and quite different than the rest of the buildings here. And I think they have something like this in Poznan. So I don't know if these market halls were just a thing or are just a thing in Poland. They're really, really nice. We just went into the St. Mary's Basilica, which is right in the Old Town Square, and it's also a UNESCO heritage site. I think it was born in the 14th century, and just like the other church that we visited, it's like all covered in gold and really like intricate. It's really, really nice, really pretty, really different from some other churches, and yeah, it was free.
Something that was a little bit confusing is that they have a sign out front about people not going inside right now. I think that you're only meant to go in if you are going to pray. It's more for locals. We noticed that a massive crowd, all these people were going in, and I just went in and I asked if it was okay to take some pictures, and the woman said that it was fine, but everybody seems to be ignoring that sign and just rushing in. Yeah, it's full of tourists, so a little bit strange. I'm not sure if there's like a separate entrance where you're supposed to go in as a tourist, because as far as I knew, you were supposed to pay 15 zloty, but it's kind of unclear. So maybe a local can let us know in the comments what the rules are for this basilica. But either way,
Didn't do everything wrong.
yeah, I hope we didn't do everything wrong, but either way, it is absolutely beautiful on the inside. Outside, there's construction right now, so a lot of the beauty is covered up, but inside, amazing.
We're now at Ambasada Śledzia for some food, and this is a thing in Poland that's called Szakowski. I'm not sure if I said that right, but it's basically like Polish tapas, and it's foods that go with vodka well. So we got this big platter. I'm sure it's for more people than two, but that's what we got. I'm gonna start with some bread and lard, and it's called smalcem, I think, in Poland, which is similar to the German word Schmalz, and a pickle. Polish smalcem or lard is so good because it's not just lard, it has these like pieces, little chunks of stuff. It's like so much better. In Germany, when I grew up, it was always just like this white paste, and I didn't really like it. This is so delicious. It's like so nice and salty and savory. And goes so well with pickles. Delicious.
The Polish word that Ani said earlier actually translates to appetizers and snacks, and that is exactly what we have. This whole plate is filled with mixed Polish tapas, as they like to call them here. So what we got is a sharing plate that comes with, obviously, the bread with lard, as Anya tried. It has pickles, it has herring tartare, plums wrapped with bacon, it has sauerkraut, and it looks absolutely amazing. And of course, you're supposed to try these with some vodka. So I'm going to try some herring, which is classic. I don't think I can eat this in one bite because this is huge, so. That is absolutely delicious. I come from the east coast of Canada where we eat a lot of fish, so I am a fan of fish in any variety, and that goes with pickled fish as well. Let's see how it pairs with this vodka. According to what I read on the internet, in Poland you're supposed to drink vodka in one go, not sip it, unless it's one of the fruitier varieties, so nastrowi. That's vodka. Vodka is not my favorite of all the alcohols. I would typically go for whiskey or rum, but this is not bad. I feel like if you have a high enough quality one, then it's pretty good. It pairs well with this delicious Polish food.
I'm gonna try some of this herring tartare. Looks like it has like pickles in it and maybe bacon, you said? I don't see any bacon. I see onions.
Maybe just touch the bacon and touch my mouth.
That's good. I love herring, I love like pickled fish. This one is really good because it's like chopped up. It's really oily. I love the pickles, yeah. It's really, really good. Totally my thing.
I'm gonna try the plum and bacon. Sweet from the plum, salty and fatty from the bacon. Those two things definitely complement each other. So that one's really, really good. But we also got another dish, which is pork shank jelly. Now, I have to admit, it looks a little bit strange. It looks a little bit like a can of cat food, especially the way that it's shaped.
I didn't even notice that.
But it looks like something that you would give to your cat. It smells really good and it looks pretty tasty. There's all these strings of pork inside. It looks like a jellied pulled pork. So let's try it out. It's served with bread, so I'm gonna put a big chunk on there. Yeah, it's served with a little thing of lemon too, so let's try this. The jelly actually just melts in your mouth. It reminds me of, I guess, just drinking cold pork gravy because it just liquefies in your mouth. It definitely has a strong porky taste. It's actually kind of refreshing because it's a little bit warm today. And so it is chilled, it is nice and cool, and that little hit of citrus brightens it up as well. So this is actually really good. May look strange to people who aren't from Poland, but quite nice, and I definitely recommend you try it out.
I have to say I'm a bit scared of this. My mom used to eat stuff like this because in Germany it's called Sülze, like head cheese, I guess, it's similar to. Let's see. It's not bad. I don't like how it's cold. I feel like once it kind of like dissolved in your mouth, then it's kind of nice. But the first like moment when you have this jelly in your mouth, it's not the best. I wish there was more meat in it.
I feel like there's a lot of
It definitely tastes better in cat food, and I know what cat food tastes like.
Nobody eats cat food.
No, but I don't know. My mom used to put mustard on this.
I think that would be good.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I'm glad I tried it. And I will eat the whole thing. So it's not that bad. And I think it's my turn to drink the vodka. What is it? Nostrovie? Nostrovie.
To your health.
I hope it's going to make me healthy. Oh. How did you keep a straight face earlier? There's even still a tiny bit in the glass. I have not done a shot of vodka in many years. Whew. Poland actually has all types of different vodkas with different flavors. We went to one bar that had a vodka of the day that was mint flavored, just for $1, I think. This one tasted crazy, but the flavored ones, they don't necessarily taste that strong. We bought one that was orange flavored, it had still 32%, and it tastes like candy almost. So I find that crazy, how that's even possible. This one tasted like, it was smooth, but it tasted like gasoline still.
We also grabbed ourselves a Polish beer. I would love to know, to all of our hopefully new Polish viewers, what is your favorite food to eat when you are drinking vodka? Do you go for herring? Do you go for the lard? What do you go for? Please let us know in the comments. But again, Nostrovie, so cheers, let's drink. Delicious.
I think my favorite items on the plate are the lard bread, the tartare, and these little prunes with bacon. They're so good. They're delicious. I love these prunes.
I think the plums.
That's prunes. Plums, dried plums are prunes. And he's the chef. We're now at Wawel Castle, which is kind of like almost in the middle of the old town, or just like next to it. And it's a fortified residency, and it was built in the 13th and 14th century, just like most things in the city, I feel like. It's one of the, or maybe the most historically and culturally important site in Poland. And it's really nice because you can go around here and just walk like the castle grounds and see the like river, and you have a nice view, and they have these chairs here so you can just chill.
The castle itself is built in this Romanesque Gothic kind of architectural style that we really, really like. As Ani said, I think it was built in like the 14th century or something like that, but it's actually been expanded on quite a bit since it was first built. Although the entry to the grounds are free, there's all these different museums and different parts of the castle that you can enter. I think there's like catacombs underneath.
There's a dragon's den.
Yeah, there's a dragon's den, there's a cathedral or something like that. So all these separate things that you can enter. What's a little bit annoying is that they all have their own separate tickets and their separate price. Maybe you can buy a ticket for them all together, but as far as I know, it's kind of expensive. So we're the kind of people that just like to enjoy the free things in life and enjoy walking around and enjoying the beautiful scenery here. And yeah, it's a lot to take in. Really, really beautiful and super nice up here.
This castle was also declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1978, just like a lot of things in the city. And it's so nice out here. All you would need is a little cold beer. But I don't think you can drink in public in Poland, so that needs to be changed.
I need some vodka.
Yeah, what's wrong with some vodka in front of the castle? We're now here at some square called Okrąglak. It's kind of like a food court where there's all these different stalls selling zapikankę. That's something that we actually are trying for a food tour. We're not going to try it in this video, so make sure to check our Krakow food tour out next week. But this square is super, super cool. There's all these like flea market stalls.
Yeah, there's people selling all sorts of different things. They're selling records, there's little souvenirs, plushies, artwork, things like that. So it's pretty cool, and it is pretty packed here on a Saturday.
One of the coolest parts of Krakow, in my opinion, is actually the Jewish district, which is called Kazimierz, I think in Polish. It is really cool. It has a lot of cool bars and restaurants and seems really alternative and grungy and really reminds me of the Jewish district in Budapest where we lived. Yeah, there's like all these cool bars. There's even like a punk bar here. Kind of reminds me also of like areas in Berlin. Apparently before World War II, 25% of the population of the city was Jewish. It was the fourth biggest settlement of Jews in Poland. You still can see like some like Jewish restaurants and stuff like that as well. But yeah, I really love this area.
Something that cannot be ignored when you come to Krakow, though, is that there is a very dark history here with the Holocaust and World War II. And one thing that we highly recommend that you do, if you do come here, is go on a tour to Auschwitz. Now, we went with a company called Krakow Direct. We booked through Get Your Guide. The tour itself was about 3 hours long, and you visit 2 locations. The whole tour itself was very sad, very graphic, but again, it's something that you should probably do if you come here to Poland.
The reason why we went on a tour was actually because we kind of planned this too late. But from my understanding, you can actually take the public bus or the public train to Auschwitz, or at least close enough. And then there's another bus. And you can even get tickets for free, I believe. And those are the tickets where you go on your own self-guided tour. I think they give you a booklet, but you have to book those well in advance, I think weeks in advance. And when I checked, that was not available anymore, so that's why we went on the guided tour, which is super good, super informative. But depending on how you like doing tourist attractions, you can either go on a self-guided one for free, and especially if you're on a budget, that would be nice, or you can take the tour like we did.
As far as what you see on the tour, as I mentioned before, you go to 2 different locations, including the main camp, which was formerly a military base, and then there's Birkenau, which is the second location, or the death camp. When you enter the first camp, you see the sign Arbeit macht frei, which is work will set you free. I'm sure that when the victims came there, they thought that maybe one day they would see freedom, but obviously not in the way that they thought. The whole setting was very sad, very depressing. They take you to a bunch of different locations where the victims were held, some of the gas chambers. They would show you belongings of the victims, including shoes and suitcases and all these things. And in general, just being there gives you this uneasy feeling of, I don't know, the atrocities that were committed there. So it's very sad, but again, very important to see. Ultimately, we really didn't want to vlog there. We didn't make any speaking points there because it obviously felt inappropriate. And then even filming there in general felt awkward, but we had permission to do so. But even then, it just felt weird. But it is very important to show this and not forget what happened so that something like this hopefully never happens again.
We're now taking a little break for some drinks and vodka at Pijalnia Vodka and Piwa, which I think is kind of like an institution in Poland. They have like 33 branches in the whole country. I think we've went before in Wrocław. Basically, they have like really cheap shots of vodka and really cheap beer. And they have all these like different shots with like syrups. And we got one with raspberry and Tabasco, which tasted really, really spicy, to me at least.
It's delicious.
Na zdrowie! This is the end of our video. We absolutely loved Krakow. The city's totally our vibe. And I think maybe people were right, and maybe this is also a favorite Polish city so far.
But that is not it for this series. We still have a lot more to come, including some videos from Warsaw, Wrocław, and lots of food videos as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But that is it for now. So if you did like this video, give it a like, write us a comment, and by far the most important thing is to hit that subscribe button. But that is it for now. We will see you all in the next one.
Bye!